Tumeingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Sound Candy Talk Live News. Unatazama Sound Candy Talk Live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for this amazing time, amazing moment, amazing hour, and amazing meet. Kama Dawa, the Prince will remain. I'm your host, Diza, tonight, and welcome for the Political Open Forum Show, the show that gives the opportunity to share your views and share your opinion to that matters rising up to our nation. So I want to welcome you. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this, for your contribution matters so much. For tonight, I have make a big bet with you, and I've make a big deal with you. For tonight, we are having the segment, as always, in the 3 parts, whereby we'll check in the updates of the day, then we'll have the conversation and the key point on the house. And one of the key points on the house is about the story about the raising up and the guns being spotting out, being the number alarming rise, and also responding to that. Also, the other crimes activities that happen throughout the day, we'll be also checking towards it, and also be coming to the agreement of where do we want our nation to go to, or where do we want our nation to be standing at a point. I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this, so we can having the conversation together. You can use the link on the comment section to join in the studio and also give your views one-on-one. Also, you can do it on the comment section. I'll be reading it and I'll also be sharing it. For tonight, we are free to tell me where you're watching me from and where you're getting me from, so that we can have this segment together and have the vibe together. Because tonight we are saying that if we don't bring it to the standstill, it will bring us to the standstill, so that we be the one suffering, not be the one gaining towards the point of it. So I want to welcome you all. Feel free and feel part and parcel of this. Welcome back. This is Sound Can Talk, and I'm Mosi Diesel. So tonight we are driving up to the matters of the day. There's a lot of things that are happening throughout the day, but we are having the conversation over them, and I would like to listen from you. Please shout out for the people who are watching us, and for the people who are watching from the comment section. Please, I'll be reading your comments too, and I'll be going through your comments. Please just tell me, Shadizo, I'm getting you, while Adam at this point, and I'm ready to contribute to the matter of the day. Okay, there's this story that's moving around all throughout of insecurities. We'll be checking also other debates and all other conversation from other people, or from the Monday report, and also from other parts and other communication skills, or other communication departments. But first of all, I want to check out what is this all is going all about insecurities, and apart from that one that is going on of the insecurities, we'll be checking also from the response from the other people speaking all about this, because it seems like it's the biggest thing, or is the biggest paramount thing inside the house. So I will be checking towards it and also be listening towards it. So I'll play the couples of videos before we play the video G of the day, to give us the concept and the understanding of everything, and everything is being done, or everything is being going through, so that we can have the good or the better place that we can do the contribution to it. Let us start on this way.
Have clarity of which mode of transport is used where. And the manner in which our border sector is being managed is not proper. It's not responsive to security in two ways. One is that border is a transport of last mile. So there must be defined areas where you cannot have motorbikes plying through highways all over the place. Number two, we need to have self-regulation by the borders, having their circles properly, well-dressed, documented. They know the people operating the border, so that you separate between the person who has a personal motorbike for personal use and the one who is carrying pillion passengers for commercial purposes. I think that because of the misuse of borders in the recent past, and not Nairobi alone, these problems are in most of our cities across the country. This issue of murders by persons using motorbikes and running away should lead us to collectively, with Parliament, with Ministry of Transport, with this ministry and other stakeholders, and particularly being led by the border themselves, because these few elements are spoiling a multi-billion transport economy sector of border. Okay. Which otherwise, is now having a bad name as a result of some people hiding behind it to commit crimes.
Okay, we'll come to talk about that in just a bit. Of who killed Bob?
First of all, I hope I'm now audible.
Now you're clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. First, let me say, my Dr. Chalom Bobo was my teacher, and he taught me to law of evidence in 2 semesters, and thereafter we worked together as also teachers at the University of Nairobi. So for me, it is personal, and I wish to send my personal condolences to his wife and the children. And I believe that the best answer has been given by DCI, who is in charge of investigations. I have no doubt in my mind that we have the men and women who have the capability and capacity to unravel this very heinous act. I think since it's not even a week since it happened, let's exercise patience and give them the time to do this. And I think that your initial concern that there are other unresolved deaths, the work that the DCI has done, because in a few months ago, he was able to do a good job. The entire team of National Police Service did a very good job in the case of the Member of Parliament, who also faced that kind of situation. I think that it maybe from a policy perspective, because the Cabinet Secretary's responsibility is in a policy level, there are certain things that we have to think about strongly, and which we have exercised our mind to a great extent. The first is that National Security Council gave directions last week that we need to continue our program of expanding technology, expanding cameras to more roads in the city and other cities across the country. That would have really helped a great deal if Magadi Road, for example, was covered with the CCTV cameras. Number two,
well equipped to deal with this.
So first of all, Trevor, one is that one of the first things that His Excellency the President did when he came into office was to give the police, the National Police Service, the financial autonomy. So that then in terms of operations, it's a responsibility of the Inspector General of Police. But still as a State Department and also as a ministry, we still have a role to play in terms of matters to do with policy. But maybe straight to your question in terms of how well the police are equipped. The truth is that there's been a serious gap over the years in terms of our investment into the police service. But we've also deliberately, over the last 3 years, made significant investment to support the police. We have the police modernization program, which has helped us to manage the challenges around security in the country. But yes, we still need to do more. Like the CS says, even in terms of our use of technology to be able to help us manage crime. A big part of, for example, Nairobi is in the dark. So you realize we've had 2 recent murder cases, or what you'd call cases where we lost the MP and now the advocate the other day. In the case of the MP, it was much easier to track and easily identify those who are responsible, because it happened within the CBD before you get to Kenyatta Hospital, around about there. Now, this other one has happened way outside the CBD on Magadi Road. And because of lack of camera, actually, I think there's only one camera and very far from where the actual event happened. And that's why you'd sympathize with the police, because there's an expectation of them to apprehend in real time, but then there's a gap in terms of the tools that would allow them to do that. And that is why progressively we are increasing our footprint in terms of investment in infrastructure, investment in technology. And it's good that there's been already a direction that has been given towards that effect in terms of CCTV coverage. The CS the other day gave also a written directive in terms of the investment in CCTV coverage across our police stations all over the country, so that then we are better placed. We facilitate the police to better do their work. Yeah. But maybe also the other thing is looking at what the CEO Kara is saying. Yes, it's a primary responsibility of the police on matter of security, but as a society, we also do have a responsibility, because the person who is on the border is coming from somewhere. And the fact that no one is even willing to come out to say that there is this character that is suspicious speaks to the challenge and the opportunity that also exists in terms of being much more proactive. And that is why, for me, an alliance association like Kara becomes very helpful in terms of supporting the police in their work as part of our community policing. And I think there is need for us to have much more awareness across the country.
But we'll speak about that in just a short while. But there's been a tug of war. You just talked about financial autonomy. There's been a tug of war between the National Police and the National Police Commission. PS, who should be in charge of this payroll?
First of all, there isn't any tug of war between the commission and the service. But also just to educate. The commission includes the senior leadership of the service. So it's actually the same people. The commissioners, the IG is a commissioner. The deputy IGs are commissioners. So there isn't any tug of war. What may probably be out there is a situation where we have a new commission that has come in. Then, of course, there is also the pressure to do certain activities. And in the process of those consultations, there is a likelihood of a misunderstanding in terms of who is holding on to what particular responsibility. But there isn't any tug of war between what you'd call the Police Service Commission and the service. And even when there could be any understanding, there are inbuilt mechanisms that allows the commissioners to sit through their meetings, to deliberate on issues, so that then they are fully able to support the officers who serve in the police force, police service.
Waziri, let me bring in on this, and this Alliance Residents Association, because CS is saying
this is the story cooking on and on that is moving on, which brings us to the matter today. We in the matter that Ruto spoke today. So this finger blaming, that is pointing of fingers towards the government, there's pointing of fingers towards Ruto, people claiming that the threat of insecurity is raising up higher once more time. Kabla tuende kwa hiyo, let us check out. Leo tumekuwa na Mrando, and this is what we spoke about in Mrando.
Our motivation to transform agriculture, to subsidize production, to remove brokers and cartels in our coffee, tea, wheat, sugarcane industry, so that we can have a food secure nation, one that does not suffer what Mzee Isaac suffered in his young age, and many citizens continue to suffer in our nation. I am very happy that this year, by God's grace, we will harvest close to 75 million bags of maize. And as a result, It will be the highest harvest in the history of Kenya. And we continue the journey to transform our agriculture so that we can have a food secure nation, we can use it to grow jobs, we can use it to grow exports, and we can grow wealth in our nation.
You had leo tena that we be producing the highest number of maize this year. So I don't know how will that happen, but let us hope that something will happen so that the rate of food or the price of food, the maize, will go down on it. Okay, that was just by the way. Let us come to the deal of the day. The deal of the day is the story of insecurities. Insecurities being raising up to another higher level that we'll be checking once details to it and having the conclusion towards it as it is look like it is.
When the Kenya Kwanza administration took office in 2022, banditry was one of the country's most pressing security challenges. Brazen bandits armed with illegal firearms unleashed terror across at least 7 counties, stealing livestock, leaving behind trails of bloodshed and forcing thousands from their homes. 3 years on, a multi-agency security crackdown codenamed Operation Maliza Uhalifu has restored calm. Gunfires fallen silent, bandits cornered by security forces are now surrendering, and displaced families are returning home to rebuild their lives. Gatete Njoroge has more.
Along the Arabal Mukutani Road in Baringo South, a group of women walked together, each carrying bundles of grass on their heads. Having endured years of bandit attacks, they now brave the scorching sun on a road that just 8 months ago was impassable due to insecurity. The grass they carry will be used to thatch the roofs of their huts, a powerful symbol of resilience and the determination to rebuild homes once destroyed by bandits.
Tumepata kuona amani kwa sababu hata mandugu zetu, majirani zetu ambao tulikuwa tumepigana na wao, kwa sasa tunashirikiana na wao kwa kila jambo, kwa sababu sisi tulirudi kama hatuna ng'ombe na hatuna mbuzi. Wao sasa wenyewe ndio wanakuja kutuletea maziwa.
The thing was done in a very good way, that there was no human rights abuses, and it was directly to those people who commit those atrocities.
An intensified multi-agency security operation has left those who unleashed terror with no option but to surrender to the authorities. Meshak Kibor, Bramson Tarus, and Asa Ruto are among bandits who have shunned banditry and responded to the call to hand over their weapons. In an event held at AIC Chesongoch Church, Kerio Valley Deputy County Commissioner Ezekiel Amonde received 2 AK-47 rifles, 21 rounds of ammunition, binoculars, and police uniforms from the trio.
Chugama yangu najua ilitoka Uganda. Wezi jua jinsi gani ilifika huku hela, bora tu umepeana hela. Kwa mwenye anajua. Unatafuta tu nani anaweza kuwa na kamwanya ya hii network. Kama tu vile nyinyi mnanunuanga magari.
Nishaiba ng'ombe lakini wakarudisha mara mbili. Nikahajana nayo sijarudi tena, lakini mpango ilikuwa tu ya kurudi, lakini sasa imefika mahali hakuna namna tena utarudi huko.
Now we have about over 20 guns that have been surrendered voluntarily. They're almost 30 actually in Marakwet and West Pokot and Baringo. This will be sustained for as long as it takes.
With guns off, some of the reformed bandits have embraced farming, which offers alternative source of livelihood and helps to integrate them back to the community.
Make affirmative action like what Moi during the Moi time, whereby even people who did not finish school, they were able to do security, and then they are able to help their kids to go to school.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who attributes the success to security modernization program, says plans to support reformed bandits and those who have returned back to their farms is on course, with at least 1 billion shillings set aside for construction of roads.
We want to build additional police stations. Again, the National Security Council gave directions that we need to build those police stations so that there is government presence inside in the interior part of these areas that have been a problem for a long time. Then it will be followed by boreholes, building more schools.
The Interior CA says the operation to end banditry will be pushed to the border where proliferation of illegal firearms has for long hampered fight against banditry. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV.
Now, these are...
Okay, that's one from the other side. That's saying that they are trying their best to bring the peace. But also now, what my question is of today. Now, if they're trying to say that, what about this the other sides? Let's check out this.
Gangs has been described as a growing threat to national security, with 309 criminal groups believed to be operating across 11 counties. Victims continue to bear the brunt of attacks, from extortion to violent robberies targeting residents and businesses. In Mombasa and Kwale counties, notorious gangs such as the Panga Boys, Wakali Kwanza, and Congo continue to terrorize communities despite government crackdown on the machete-wielding groups. Francis Talaki has more.
This amateur video shows the moment a gang of young men stormed a street in Msambweni, Kwale County, robbing residents in broad daylight 5 months ago. The gang, known locally as the Panga Boys, is among several criminal groups terrorizing residents in the area. One victim, Bernard Kaloki, was attacked and robbed of his valuables, left with deep scars on his stomach and waist from the violent encounter.
Tupatie simu ambao uko nayo. Nikawapatia simu, kanaambia tupatie pesa. Yote mimi nikawapatia ilikuwa uko nayo. Bagi nikawapatia. Kaambia basi pisheni nipite. Akafanya kama ananipisha. Moja mfupi akanitia kiswa tumbo.
The fearless machete-wielding gang is known for terrorizing residents through a spate of criminal attacks. Ruben Masika, Mombasa businessman, and Diana Helen, a youth from Mombasa, are among the latest victims of these criminal gangs operating in Bamburi, Kisauni constituency.
Kenya nilireceive ya kwanza, it was a fist on my right eye, alafu ikafuatwa na kugongeshwa kwa ukuta. Nilijipata tu niko chini na gongeshwa na jiwe, huko akiendelea tu kunipiga uso.
Just because I cooperated, they could not harm me. Lakini najua singe cooperate. The same day nimeibiwa simu, naenda ku replace line kwenye duka, nimeenda ku replace line, napata vijana wawili, moja amekatwa with same case, mama pia amenyang'anywa simu with same case in the same shop Bamburi.
A report by the National Crime Research Center reveals that Mombasa County has the highest number of criminal gangs in the country at 79, followed by Nairobi with 56. While Cliffy ranks third with 47 criminal groups.
Hao vijana wanashikwa. Wakeza shikwa, polisi wanapoa longolongo, pesa kidogo, wanaachiliwa. Wanarudi tena kusumbua watu. Hata sasa hivi vijana wengi sana sasa hivi.
Najua kama town kubwa, a city, huwezi kosa ile isolated incidents ambayo hufanyika, lakini hata hiyo hatutawaacha tu endelea kwa sababu inafanyika kila mahali, hapana. Tutashughulikia kama serikali tukishirikiana na kamati zote za usalama, County Police Commander, DCI and everybody, kuhakikisha kwamba hata hao tunawafuata.
Peer pressure, poverty, unemployment, drug abuse and political manipulation have been cited as major factors that driving youth into criminal activities. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen once that politicians are found using gangs to advance their interests ahead of the 2027 polls will face tough action.
We will not care whether that person supports government or opposition. We know the danger that goons that sometimes transition to guns poses in our country. They can actually, become one of the biggest threat to our peace and security. So we will not condone.
Security apparatus maintain that Jukwaa la Usalama operations to flush out criminal gangs and other initiatives will continue, warning criminal gangs that their days are numbered. Francis Mtalaki, Citizen TV, Mombasa.
And that right.
Tunaingia
That's what is happening, or that's what's going on and on for it. So I want to tell me which part they're saying that the security is good, which part they're saying that insecurity is so much. Watu Mombasa, njoni mniambie watu wa Sadia Pwani, sehemu ya Pwani, njoni mtuelezee na mtuambie ni yapi ambayo yanajiri. Wewe msimamo, nimekuona kwa comment section. Na wanamuona msimamo amejaja ndani ya nyumba, anasema hello, good evening people. Karibu sana msimamo. Na wakaribisha nyote na wasii, njoni tuweze kuzamia. Kwanza watu wa sehemu za Pwani, mniambie tatizo ni lipi, na hii swala la ukosefu wa usalama sehemu za Mombasa zilianza vipi, na mbona inakusudiwa kwamba ni sehemu kuu ambayo inaweza kuwa inakadiriwa kuwa na visa vingi vya utovu wa usalama, na pia mambo mengi ambayo yanazungumziwa hapa. Tuna yote mengi ni kutoka sehemu za Pwani, na wasinjioni tuweza kuzungumza, manake hili swala ni swala la kusikiwa sana. Manake ukiona vile mambo yanaenda ama vile mambo yanajiri, yanaonyesha wazi kwamba ni sehemu ya Mombasa ambayo ina utovu wa nidhamu, na inaonyesha kwamba kama watu wa Mombasa hamtasimama na kujitokeza wima na kukomesha hiyo tabia jinsi inavyopigiliwa hapa sasa sana, inaonekana pia nyinyi mtajipata mahali ambapo mtaweza kushindwa kujikomboa. Ni sasa ni vyema tusimame sasa, tujikomboe sasa, zaidi ya kunyamaza tuweze kuteseka baadaye. Manake tukinyamaza sisi ndio tutateseka tu baadaye. Manake sisi ndio waathiriwa, sisi ndio wenye tunakumbwa na hili swala. Utovu wa nidhamu upo kila mahali, kila kona, ndio hiyo inaongelewa huku, inaongelewa huku, inaongelewa huku, inaongelewa huku, kila mahali, kila pembe. Naomba mnielezee watu wa Mombasa, nyinyi mwalionaje hili swali la utovu wa nidhamu, ama mnaona litiliwe wapi mkazo, ama wapi libadilishwe ili liweze kuwa sawa, ili watu wasiweze kuendelea kuteseka vile watu wanavyoteseka. Manake kuna mambo mengine watu wanayapitia sana ambayo yanakusudiwa na haya mambo ya masuala tu ya utovu wa nidhamu wa usalama bado. Kama wanasema wameimarisha usalama sehemu zingine, mbona sehemu ya Pwani au jeshi? Na tunaona kwa sehemu za mpaka wanasema tumehakikisha kwamba mabunduki yameweza kurejeshwa, na ili swala bado la mlenga rais, ambapo walisema kwamba amerejesha mabunduki zaidi ya 20 ambayo yamekuwa yamechukuliwa na watu bila idhini ya serikali. Wamekubali kuyapeana ili waweze kudumisha usalama, na waachie serikali kwamba iwasaidie kudumisha usalama. Na kwa ndio ni swala zuri, na ni swala ambalo linaleta matumaini kwamba usalama unakuja, ama usalama utakuwepo, usalama utaweza kuwa mzuri. Naomba unielezee ni vipi hii yote yataweza kudhihirika ili kuhakikisha kwamba ile swala la usalama na utovu wa usalama haupo, na utovu wa usalama unaisha kabisa, unakoma. Manake sasa watu wapo kwenye hatari, wengine wapo kwenye wasiwasi, wengine hata hawawezi lala, manake usingizi unakujaje na kamina inapojua kwamba ukosefu wa usalama huko. Tumeona Mombasa leo hii watu wameingia na kuvamia mchana peupe wazi, na cha kushangaza kwamba wamevamia na ni kikundi cha vijana ambacho kinajulikana huyo sehemu, na wamekuja wakavamia, wakabomoa, wakaibia watu mchana peupe, jua ikiwa hapa, na vijana ambao wanabeba mapanga, kisha baadaye kuwavamia na kuchukua hizo vitu wanaenda. Umeona wafanya kazi wa hiyo sehemu wanalalamika kwamba baada ya kufanyiwa hivyo, ukienda kuripoti hapo vijana wanashikwa tu kwa muda, kisha wanatoa mlungula, wanaachiliwa, wanarudi tena wanaendelea kuwatatiza wanakijiji. Sasa tutakuwa na hiyo, watakuwa watu wa Mombasa watakuwa naishi hivyo kwamba tunalalamika, tunashika vijana, maana nimemuona, najua maana amekuja. Kama mtu ameje kunibia mchana, si nimemuona aje akanibia mchana, nikamshtaki kwa polisi ili aweze kuchukuliwa sheria, lakini nakuta mimi kuonyesha kwamba kumeshtaki kwa polisi, nakuta kwamba haina utofauti na mimi kutokushtaki, manake yote tu ni sawa. Nashtaki lakini hakuna hatua itachukuliwa, nashtaki lakini hakuna ratiba ambazo zitafanyika popote kuhakikisha kwamba napata haki, ama kuhakikisha kwamba mimi vitu zangu vimeibiwa virejeshwe. Manake kuna wengine pia nao wanaona mpeo wameathiriwa, manake kuibiwa tu, amepigwa. Kama kuna msichana ambaye tunamuona hapo, msichana anasema kwamba alipokutana na kitu aliona kwanza alipigwa ngumi ya jicho. Baadaye kupigwa ngumi ya jicho akasukumwa kwa ukuta, akaanza kuumia, akasukumwa kwa ukuta. Kwa hiyo ukuta akagongeshwa kwa ukuta, akaumia. Manake unamuona jicho limefura, limekuwa jekundu. Manake hata sasa hana amani, hana uoga. Manake kila kitoka nakumbuka, nimetoka juzi nikaibiwa, nimetoka juzi nikapigwa, nikafanywa hivi na vile na vile na vile. Sasa nikitoka tena leo naweza fanywa vingine vibaya. Naomba tu mniambie nyinyi mnahisi kwamba Kenya yetu inaenda wapi? Ndio naona wao sehemu mwingine wanasema kwamba wameimarisha usalama hadi wananyakua mabunduki ambayo hayaweza kunyokolewa na wana kijiji ambao hawana idhini. Sasa kama hao wanaweza kurejesha mabunduki, lakini hao wengine nao tunawafanyaje? Iko mnaweza rejesha mabunduki, mbona msirejeshe, msikomesha hao vijana wa mapanga waache kutatiza watu? Maana hii swala la usalama kwa kweli ni swala ambalo linafaa lipewe kipaumbele sana. Waziri wa usalama naye pia alizungumzia, lakini tunamwona rais ndiye analengwa sana, maana yeye ndiye mwenye ambaye anasema kwamba ndiye amerejesha haya mabunduki. Mombasa ndio hiyo sawa pia nayo. Naomba mnielezee tunapoangalia mjadala pia tena sehemu nyingine hii, tuone nao wanasema nini, lakini naomba pia ninyi mnipe maoni yenu, muweze kuniambia na mniambie kwamba mnaona vipi kulingana na hili swala, ama wapi ambapo linafaa liweze kusongeshwa na wapi linafaa kufanywa msasa zaidi na zaidi. Hebu tutazame hii.
In recruitment there is a lot of corruption. That is something that we know. And this time around, I want to assure you, Trevor, and the rest of the Kenyan people, this time around we are going to recruit police officers in a manner that has actually been described there. You walk in, if you are qualified, you get recruited, period. That is exactly what myself, together with the leadership here, that is what we want. And we are ready for your information. Any person who will go against that spirit, we are ready to take someone home to the jail straight to ensure that it is just those light people who are recruited in this service. And in fact, what I'm saying, Trevor, look at it this way. I myself, as the Inspector General, I have invited the EACC to come and review our systems, to come and review our policies, to come and look at our SOPs, so that we can be able to get to understand where are these gaps. Now, the other day, I had an exit meeting with the EACC. They are ready to provide us with a report which you commissioned way back in April of this year. And amongst the information that we have gotten is that that is an area that really has got a lot of challenges. But now, we have actually been assisted with the information that we have so far gotten on how we can actually be able to deal with that issue.
Was it like to jump in on this?
So I don't. The relationship between the police and the citizens, in your own words, is good until politicians or political actors create chaos in between. It must be remembered that police officers are not necessarily do not generate the problems we have. You know, land cases, people fight over land cases, it becomes insecurity. People fight over power. And then in the process, police come into the equation, and then everybody forgets about the competition for political power. It now becomes how the police officers were brutal in the execution of their duties. So I think that the real problem is to ask political leaders to sort their political problems using the constitution and peaceful means, so that they do not have to overload, to create problems for the police officers. If you have a situation like we had on 25th and on 7/7, where, you know, police stations were banned, courts were banned, supermarkets, business looted, what do you expect the police officers to do? They have to respond. They have also to arrest those who did it and charge it. The police officers don't go around asking, can we get political support of X and Y to come? We are led by the evidence to the suspect. And if the evidence leads to a particular person who had paid people to ferry people to come and ban a court of law, where the Chief Justice is on record herself saying this is an act of terror, those people will be arrested and charged for what they committed.
But we've seen police firing tear gas to opposition convoys. Can the police stay away from partisan politics?
If and I've said this before, if those convoys were peaceful and they were not disrupting public peace, they were not attacking each other, this group and the other, there wouldn't be no need for police. There have been many political rallies peaceful, even this weekend. Did you see the police?
But when there's violence, you're supposed to arrest them.
Why?
Because
we've not
seen
peaceful.
Evidence of that, Wazir.
Because
sometimes the convoys are just on the road and we see they've been blocked and then there's tear gas being fired.
Because if you see police officers blocking even yourself, they block you at some point, they must have been trailing you, knowing where you're headed to. Particularly if you are planning to commit an offense. You don't wait until you burn the shop for you to be blocked from going to that direction. If you are carrying people, for example, you are carrying people, you have people in your car carrying crude weapons, should we just allow you to go?
So we saw this
and say that you have not committed any offense.
We saw this in Nakuru and they were merely just attending a church function. How did you know they were going to commit crime?
I don't remember particular incidences where a church function was being whatever, but I speak as a person who has also been on the other side, who police have thrown tear gas to. And in those instances, I think the police were justified because even though I complained then, when you sit back and look at what happened at that particular incident, there were two groups that were fighting. Even though I was in the side that I considered myself peaceful, we found ourselves in the situation. The police do only those things in extreme situations. It's not a daily thing. That's why. Did you see any tear gas this weekend? But the same leaders were having their rallies peacefully. Nobody bothered because it is only when police officers know that a crime is about to be committed when they are going to do those issues. And finally,
Trevor, and let me take the entire leadership of the citizen for creating this forum and giving us an opportunity to engage the citizens and be able to articulate issues concerning the state of our national security. We have had several comments, several feedbacks from the participants, and we are going to take that into consideration. As the DCI, our main mandate, Trevor, is criminal investigations, and we are committing ourselves to make sure that all cases reported to the DCI are expeditiously investigated and the culprits arrested and prosecuted within the shortest time possible. I appreciate the fact that for us to achieve on our mandate, we need to foster a good working partnership with the members of the public. And they are very, very significant components in terms of our policing. We will encourage our officers to be working hand in hand with the public so that we're able to attend to their cases in the most appropriate way possible. We have at the DCI, the Fichuakwa DCI. So we are urging the members of the public to please share with us any information at their disposal so that we're able to act and process the same. It has got the alternative of somebody giving that information anonymously. So if any person wishes to give that his or her information anonymously, then that provision is captured in the Fichuakwa DCI. Otherwise, thanks so much.
Thank you, DCI boss. Let's bring in Henry Ochieng.
I think this session needs a whole day. I came here with so many of my members who have very useful insights. They've not had a chance to share what they had to share. I hope we'll get a chance to be able to have this discussion again. Secondly, we agree that security is a shared responsibility. And as communities, we are ready and willing to work with the government to make sure that we play our part as citizens of this country. And then number two, I want to congratulate the CS for the Jukwaa la Usalama platform that has been doing across the country. But yes, I think this initiative should be localized so that this conversation can continue even beyond what we are doing right now. We want to see these things happening at the level of the OCS level. As Kara, we recently launched a program called Salama la Mitani program, and I want to thank PS for presiding over that particular launch. And the whole idea is to build relationship between the police and the communities. And how do we do that? If we are going to have continuous and structured engagement between the police and the communities at the local level, not waiting for the CS to come for them to have that engagement, then they're going to build trust, they're going to build a relationship, and they're going to have more information being shared. I want to say that all these things you are saying here, all this is about partnership and everything that I talk about. If we don't fix this element of trust, we will not go far. Okay. So we must give due attention to that, and we must be able to work together to address that. All right. I'm inviting the entire ministry, the CS, the PS, and even the IG to work with us, to partner with us, to drive forward this Usalama Mitani initiative so that we can be able to have a deliberate mechanism and steps of making sure that communities are structurally involved and are being supported to make sure that they're supporting the police as well. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. IG. We are giving you back the microphone so that you ask those questions in your own way. The hits, the misses, the gains, the losses, what has been learned over 3 years of President William Ruto on the state of security. My guest already with me here, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, is the Cabinet Secretary, Interior and National Administration. Thank you for making time. Dr. Raymond Omolo is here as the Principal Secretary, Internal Security and National Administration. Thank you very much for making time. Douglas Kanja, the Inspector General, National Police Service, is here with us. Thank you very much for making time. And Henry Ochieng, the CEO, Kenya Alliance of Resident Associations, KARA. Thank you very much for making time. On the front row, we have the DCI boss, Mohamed Amin, and all the DIGs joining us as well. If you have any questions, we'll pose directly to them as well. At Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Citizen Monday Report. Waziri, I'll start with you on this. The country has been asking this question. Who killed Bobu?
First of all, let me say thank you very much for inviting us. I think it's courteous to appreciate this very noble initiative that is unique.
We apologize for that slight technical hitch. We'll fix your microphone in just a bit, but let me bring in the IG on this. IG, same question. Who killed Bobu?
Thank you very much, Trevor. Let me start by, first of all, sending my condolences to the family, friends of the late bomb, the Wakiri. Let me say this. Investigations are on progress, current on progress. The DCI, I have directed the DCI that we need to move with speed. And that is exactly what he's doing. So currently, we are following some very useful leads. And I know sooner than later we are going to get those who committed that heinous crime. Thank you, Trevor.
IG, you say sooner or later. The longer this takes, the more there are fears that will join the list of unresolved similar killings, such as Jacob Juma, George Mushai, and Chris Musando. Will this just be another one of those we are investigating situations?
Trevor, first of all those investigations remains active. They are simply active. We have not closed those files until we get those who committed those heinous crimes against all those you have mentioned. So meaning that we will not rest until we get to the bottom of that. So even the case of the current case of Wakiri, investigation on progress, as I've said, the same case applies to the rest. And in fact, at this stage, I also want to appeal to the Kenyan people, especially those who would be having any kind of information that can be able to assist the National Police Service, and in particular the DCI, in unraveling that one. We welcome them very much.
Have you arrested anyone, IG?
So far, we had arrested 3, but they were again cleared by the investigating teams. But as I've said there earlier, we are on hot trail of some very, very useful leads. And we believe that we are going to get the culprits who actually committed that crime. And the DCI actually can see and they can be able to add on that, the kind of investigation that we have.
Absolutely. DCI is here. And let me pass the microphone to him to give us an update of where we are. And let's have the microphone come to the DCI boss. Mohamed Amin is here. The IG says that he told you to hasten that investigation. How far are we, DCI?
Thank you very much, Trevor. And let me join the Inspector General for condoling with the family of the deceased, and as well the members of the Law Society of Kenya. Indeed, the death of the deceased advocate is a matter we are taking very, very seriously. Not only his death, but death involving any citizen of this country. We take it very, very seriously. As to the death of Lawyer Mbogo, we have assembled a robust team from our homicide section. Actually, Trevor, as I was coming to this studio, I've left my team of detectives sifting through the evidence, and they're working over that even as we talk. Like the IG has confirmed, we arrested 3 persons of interest to us. But after subsequent investigations, we released them, but they still remain persons of interest to us. So we have some very, very good leads that certainly I will not disclose due to the sensitivity of the matter and the investigation and the fact that it might prejudice our investigations. But apprehending the killers is a matter of top priority for us. And I would like to assure Kenyans that sooner or later, we are going to arrest all the persons behind the arrest of the deceased advocate.
We understand that this is a security operation, but how many are you following? How many suspects are you looking at? And the camera is on the other side.
Well, at this point in time, I may not be able to say we are following this number of suspects. They could be 1, they could be 2, they could be 10. So it is after we conclude the investigation that we'll be able to make a determination who are the persons culpable. Thank you.
Okay. Waziri, do you have any idea of who killed Bob?
First of all, I hope I'm now audible.
Now you're clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. First, let me say, Dr. Charlo Mbobo was my teacher, and he taught me into law of evidence in 2 semesters. And thereafter, we worked together as also teachers at the University of Nairobi. So for me, it is personal, and I wish to send my personal condolences to his wife and the children. And I believe that the best answer has been given by DCI, who is in charge of investigations. I have no doubt in my mind that we have the men and women who have the capability and capacity to unravel this very heinous act. I think since it's not even a week since it happened, let's exercise patience and give them the time to do this. And I think that your initial concern that there are other unresolved deaths should not really be a barrier insofar as having faith in the work that the DCI has done, because in a few months ago, he was able to do a good job. The entire team of National Police Service did a very good job in the case of the Member of Parliament who also faced that kind of situation. I think that it maybe from a policy perspective, because the Cabinet Secretary's responsibility is in a policy level, there are certain things that we have to think about strongly, and which we have exercised our mind to a great extent. The first is that we need to continue investing in the technology. And National Security Council gave directions last week that we need to continue our program of expanding technology, expanding cameras to more roads in the city and other cities across the country. That would have really helped a great deal if Magadi Road, for example, was covered with the CCTV cameras. Number 2 is that we must face the problem of regulation of our border sector. In all civilized countries, you have clarity of which mode of transport is used to where. And the manner in which our border sector is being managed is not proper. It's not responsive to security in 2 ways. One is that border is a transport of last mile. So there must be defined areas where you cannot have motorbikes plying through highways all over the place. Number 2, we need to have self-regulation by the borders, having their circles properly, well-dressed, documented. They know the people operating the border, so that you separate between the person who has a personal motorbike for personal use and the one who is carrying pillion passengers for commercial purposes. I think that because of the misuse of borders in the recent past, and not Nairobi alone, these problems are in most of our cities across the country, this issue of murders by persons using motorbikes and running away should lead us to collectively with Parliament, with Ministry of Transport, with this ministry and other stakeholders, and particularly being led by the border themselves, because these few elements are spoiling a multi-billion transport economy sector of border, which otherwise, is now having a bad name as a result of some people hiding behind it to commit crimes.
Okay, we'll come to talk about that in just a bit, but let me bring in Henry Ching. Now that we're talking about security being a collective responsibility, did the Wananchi fail the security sector, especially during the killing of Lawyer Mbobu? Because how is it that none of them had pictures? Nobody showed up as a witness. Did the Wananchi fail the security sector?
Thank you very much, Trevor. I think it is not right to transfer the blame to Wananchi because as a matter of fact, security, first of all, is a primary responsibility of the government. And like Waziri has said, there are certain lapses that were clearly missing that led to what the current challenge we're facing. For instance, I think there's been report that the CCTV for that particular area was not working, and that's a failure of technology. And this is not the only incident that has come in the recent past of high profile. I think there's the one for the MP the other day, which happened, and many others that have happened. And like you said, we are yet to get a conclusive resolution of this kind of initiatives. So I agree that there's the aspect of collective responsibility in terms of addressing security challenges. But I think in incidents like what we have right now, the police has the primary responsibility and the primary mandate to make sure that we get to know what the truth is. As communities, we are always looking at ways and means of making sure that we partner with the government to address security concerns, because security is a very key imperative even in our decision on where we live. And if you look at the aspect of resident associations, majority of resident associations were actually formed because they wanted to make sure that they're in charge of their neighborhood as far as security is concerned. And most of them are already trying to find means and ways of working with the government, working with the police to ensure that they are safeguarding their neighborhood. Okay. A number of them have taken even steps that is costing them financially, just because they feel that they don't want to sit back and wait for the police to come and take action. We do appreciate that, for instance, the ratio of police to the citizen is about one police officer to 518 or 500 to 518 citizens. Yeah. That is way below what is recommended of 1 to 450. So certainly there's need to collaborate, there's need to partner, and there's need to ensure that we are joining hands towards addressing security concern. Okay. But we do need to make sure that we put the government, give it the responsibility as provided for in the Constitution of making sure that we are all safe and secure in our neighborhoods, in our offices, in our roads, and everywhere else. Okay. Yeah.
Before I bring in PS on this, IG, are you going to commit to timelines of this investigation so that the Kenyans who are listening to you would hold you accountable? In how long do we expect some results?
Thank you very much, Trevor. Let me say this. Investigation is a process whereby, as the DCI has said, he has set up a very, very strong team with the necessary capabilities to ensure that that particular matter is unruffled. At this stage, I cannot give a timeline, but as I have said, he is under instructions to move with speed and settle that issue and bring to book those who have committed that heinous crime. So the issue of timelines at this stage, we cannot really provide. But yes, he has said, once we get we lay our hands to the criminals, then from then on we can be able to say that, yes, this is the timelines that they can be able to take. Thank you, Trevor.
Okay. PS, let's handle some administrative issues with you. Are the police well equipped to deal with these investigations? Do they have enough resources? Because you're the accounting officer.
So first of all, Trevor, one is that one of the first things that His Excellency the President did when he came into office was to give the police, the National Police Service, the financial autonomy. so that then in terms of operations, it's the responsibility of the Inspector General of Police. But still, as a state department and also as a ministry, we still have a role to play in terms of matters to do with policy. But maybe straight to your question in terms of how well the police are equipped. The truth is that there's been a serious gap over the years in terms of our investment into the police service. But we've also deliberately, over the last 3 years, made significant investment to support the police. We have the police modernization program, which has helped us to manage the challenges around security in the country. But yes, we still need to do more. Like the CS says, even in terms of our use of technology to be able to help us manage crime. A big part of, for example, Nairobi is in the dark. So you realize we've had 2 recent murder cases, or what you'd call cases where we lost the MP and now the advocate the other day. In the case of the MP, it was much easier to track and easily identify those who are responsible, because it happened within the CBD before you get to Kenyatta Hospital, around about there. Now, this other one has happened way outside the CBD on Magadi Road. And because of lack of camera, actually, I think there's only 1 camera and very far from where the actual event happened. And that's why you'd sympathize with the police, because there's an expectation of them to apprehend in real time, but then there's a gap in terms of the tools that would allow them to do that. And that is why progressively we are increasing our footprint in terms of investment in infrastructure, investment in technology. And it's good that there's been already a direction that has been given towards that effect in terms of CCTV coverage. The CS the other day gave also a written directive in terms of the investment in CCTV coverage across our police stations all over the country, so that then we are better placed. We facilitate the police to better do their work. Yeah. But maybe also the other thing is looking at what the CEO Kara is saying. Yes, it's a primary responsibility of the police on matter security, but as a society, we also do have a responsibility, because the person who is on the border is coming from somewhere. And the fact that no one is even willing to come out to say that there is this character that is suspicious speaks to the challenge and the opportunity that also exists in terms of being much more proactive. And that is why, for me, an alliance association like Kara becomes very helpful in terms of supporting the police in their work as part of our community policing. And I think there's need for us to have much more awareness across the country.
But we'll speak about that in just a short while. But there's been a tug of war. You've just talked about financial autonomy. There's been a tug of war between the National Police and the National Police Commission. PS, who should be in charge of this payroll?
First of all, there isn't any tug of war between the commission and the service. But also, just to educate all of us, is that who is the commission? The commission includes the senior leadership of the service. So it's actually the same people, the commissioners. The IG is a commissioner. The deputy IGs are commissioners. So there isn't any tug of war. What may probably be out there is a situation where we have a new commission that has come in. Then, of course, there is also the pressure to do certain activities. And in the process of those consultations, there is a likelihood of a misunderstanding in terms of who is holding on to what particular responsibility. But there isn't any tug of war between what you'd call the Police Service Commission and the service. And even when there could be any understanding, there are inbuilt mechanisms that allows the commissioners to sit through their meetings, to deliberate on issues, so that then they are fully able to support the officers who serve in the police force, police service.
Waziri, let me bring in on this, and there's a different conversation before I open the floor for questions. Does the ministry admit total and absolute failure in the Shakahola and Kwabinzaro massacre? Were you caught flat-footed?
Let me just say, to just add to what the PS has said first before I come to Shakahola, you need to appreciate that we had a situation. I was then in the Senate in the first term of President Uhuru's administration, where everybody, the left hand did not know the right hand. There was a lot of infighting between different security managers, the KDF, the intelligence, the police, and so forth. And that time we were facing serious problems with Al-Shabaab and so forth. The concept of multi-agency approach to security management was started. And over time, we have been able to perfect, and this administration has truly perfected a multi-agency approach, so that this question of saying the commission should do this, the NPS itself should do this, the KDF should do this, the NIS should do this, is now a thing of the past. We all work, including the requirement from His Excellency the President when he appointed all of us, that he would want to see all of us work as a team. And so this teamwork, if you want to deliver more, the public need to see the confidence of the teamwork. And I think maybe that's just to just bolster what the PS said, what you saw between the NPS team, because it's only one team. In fact, it's heavy police, because the IG, the deputy IG are sitting there, and 2 former police officers are also sitting there. The only thing you might have seen in this time is a question of orientation. Once the chairman and the new team that have come in place have gone through the orientation process, I don't think that they will even attempt to have such an infighting among themselves, because it goes against a principle that is now well established in our country, that to have success, the kind of success that you have, the level of stability that we have in security in the country that has never been witnessed in many years. This country now has most stable security situation. And then I ask you a question about Shakahola. Shakahola is better answered using the same approach that the PS and the Kara gentleman, Mr. Ocheng, had, sorry for missing your name, Mr. Ocheng had already referred to. We need to first understand that as long as we abdicate our responsibility as citizens and say, I will leave my door open, yeah? One of the biggest problems we have in some parts of the country with banditry is situations where people leave their cows and goats in the field. There is nobody herding, and then they say the government, where was the government when some thieves came to steal? And I'm not saying in all instances, but in some instances. We cannot, for example, leave your house or door open and say the government is there to provide primary responsibility security. They'll come and lock my door and ensure that there are no burglars and there are no thieves in the environment. So you cannot really say that security is only the responsibility of the police officers. And in the Shakahola situation, it's a very unfortunate situation, because these are people hiding, first of all, in religion. And this is a highly religious society. People have gone to a place to pray, to fast, and we have many places where Kenyans go to pray. People are subscribed to a particular religion. They go to a certain church. We have seen situations. In fact, we even wonder what to do in situations where you see people go to a certain church and the faithfuls are being slapped, so that the Holy Spirit, the spirits of the devil can come out and the Holy Spirit can enter in. You've seen situations where people are doing obscenities. We wonder even when do the police come in. So in the Shakahola situation, religious radicalization went so far to the extent that people were being starved and to death. Now, from 2019 to 2022, when this administration came to office, it took the shortest time possible for this administration, working together with the security team, to unearth the problem of Shakahola. And then that was sorted. It has not even been sorted. The bodies that were found, some DNA was done, some were identified, others are still pending DNA tests. Suspects were arrested. The main suspect is in prison. And then a few months ago, you discover the guy is still in prison because he's in remand. He's not been sentenced. He has access to phone. He is calling his faithfuls. Those people are looking for the people, the same people who were rescued last time. One gentleman was followed up to Siaya, came from Siaya with all his children. Another one from Viga came with his family, all the way to the same Chakama Ranch in Kwabinzaro. Again, even if you want to blame the police, they have come, they are in a compound, they live in an estate, sort of a place. By the time you discover that inside there, people are being starved to death. It is far too late. And remember, in that situation also, it is because of the experience that we got in Shakahola that at least there was some information that was established to bring this connection. So I must say this, without really shifting blame, that to deal with religious radicalization will need a whole society approach. There must be, how can people leave your home? What happened to past African tradition where people ask their relatives where they are? How can someone leave all the way for about 1,000 kilometers and nobody asks any question where they are with their children? Okay. We need to look after each other, and we need to be good neighbors so that we can share this information. Number two, the report that was done by the Musimi task force that was established after that recommended that one of the things that needs to be done is for religious institutions to do self-regulation, because people are fearing also heavy government presence in religious regulation. And so religions are expected to do this. And also the bill that is being drafted and under the leadership of the PCS office is also being worked out to see how best religions can be able to regulate themselves. Okay. So it will be Shakahola today, but there's another religion in which corner of the country, there's another religion in another corner of the country, but we'll continue perfecting our efforts to deal with these issues, and we need everybody's support.
Okay, let me bring in Henry Ching on this as Kara, and I need to take a quick break, but just a quick response from you. Is that another failure of the Kenya Alliance Residents Association? Because CS is saying, how can somebody live 1,000 kilometers away? Nobody's reporting a missing person. Nobody says that they're practicing religious radicalization, so to speak.
Trevor, yes, admittedly, there's a lot of information within neighborhoods and with communities where they live. But maybe we should ask ourselves the question, why are we not passing that information for action? So the truth is that there's trust deficit between the police and the communities. And it's probably because the community feel that maybe if they pass information, it will not be acted upon. Or we've had cases where you pass information and then the following day, the same person you reported comes to tell you that he's aware that you passed the information. So there's that element of trust that is lacking between the community and the police, which we really need to work on. I can confirm to you that there's very huge goodwill from the community in terms of supporting the police and working with the police. But we need to address how are we going to ensure that as we engage and as we work with the police, we are actually confident that the information we pass will be acted upon, and also the information we pass will not be used against us at some point. Okay. So that's an element that has to be addressed very conclusively.
So the concern is the trust deficit. Okay,
Yes.
I've taken a quick break here on the Monday Report. When we come back, we're continuing this conversation. The entire interior leadership is here with the CS Murkomen, PS Doraemon Omolo, Douglas Kanja, Inspector General, DCI boss Mohammed Amin. All your questions will be answered this evening right after this break. By show of hands, how many of you have questions? Let me just see that and see here. All right. That means all of you asking the questions in just a bit. The next session is dedicated to all of you to ask all the questions you may have to the entire leadership of the Interior Ministry. For the first time ever on national television, they're here with us on the Monday Report, and we're giving you back the microphone. We'll see you in just a bit. Reviewing 3 years of President William Ruto in office, the state of security, the hits, the misses, the gains and the losses, what more needs to be fixed, and the entire Interior Ministry is here with us this evening. Let's start off straight with the questions. Who has the microphone? Kindly stand up, give your name and straight question to the panelists. All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. The discussion continues even during the break. The entire interior leadership is here and we're asking them all the questions in your own way. We're giving you back the microphone. We're trying to squeeze in as many questions as possible. Let's go straight to the audience and ask the question. Yes, sir. Start with your name and straight the question.
My name is Omwansa, son of Omwansa. I'm a student at MKU Law School, a student leader for all universities in Kenya. My concern here tonight is our comrades are suffering. Comrades zetu wanauliwa sana. If kama wakili mzima anaweza pigwa risasi akiwa kwa gari yake, how about comrade mwenye ana kitu, mwenye anatembea tu na bag ama kitabu yenye ametoka nao shule. Just to give you an example, watu MMU, like I've said, Bangladesh pale kwa hizo slums hapo, we don't have lights there, but you have been meeting student leaders, you've been meeting OCSs. I don't know what they report to you when people are being killed hapo. Ukiangalia hapa Tuk, nimesema hapa kwa bridge, people are also being killed there. Kwenda nyumbani sahi ukiwa na all body parts ni bahati ya Mungu. Ukiangalia Kenyans kwa hiyo bridge hapo, we always have askaris there from 7 p.m. to 8:30. Na naangalianga sana wakifika 8:30 washapotea. Comrades, huwezi pita hapo. Yet honestly we work during the day or we go to class, na jioni pia tunataka to extend tufanye mambo mingi. Enda Udhiru, Kabete National Polytechnic, roundabout ya Udhiru hapo. Kijana wetu amenyanganywa mkono pale. Sahi yako handicap mazee. It's not really fair. So we request the government, as you meet student leaders, as you meet the OCSs, me I'm requesting, please work lights pale, work askari hapo pia. They are trying at Kenyamas and KU, Kenya Market KM huko. Comrades cannot pass, na huko ndio wanatoka hostel penye wanakaa wanakuja shule. We are really suffering, bwana CS. If you help us at that, sisi tunashukuru na we will be able to support you as you had said. Thank you so much.
IG, respond to that before we bring in CS. On the issue of patrols and police. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Trevor. And I also want to appreciate that question because number one, it's very, very important. And number two, I also want to appreciate the Citizen TV for having invited us here so that we can also be able to meet and partner together with the community and the security providers so that we can be able to get it straight from people. And I'm saying that personally, I'm very happy from what I have heard that there are certain areas at certain times, there are no police officers. Yeah. So these are some of the areas that we can be able to ensure that we revisit, we look at the strategies we have put actually, so that we ensure that we provide safety and security to all, including the students who are carrying on with their studies, whether at TUK, whether at some other places. I want to assure you that all these informations, they are important to us actually as a leadership of the National Police Service. And we are going to deal and ensure that you are satisfied and you can actually be able to attend to your duties as required. Thank you very much.
Waziri?
From a policy perspective, first of all, we will have Jukwaa la Usalama for Nairobi, which is the penultimate, the last one, next week Friday, and we'll make sure that we invite all the student leaders from the various universities in the Nairobi metropolitan area. But if you had my earlier answer, from our security engagement across the country, it's becoming very clear that there must be proper security or officers that are attached to institutions of higher learning, including colleges. And it is important that we have greater synergy between the National Police Service and the security managers in the university, and also involving the students. This conversation we're having with you here should not have waited until we're here. It is possible to get the student leaders to be part of the sub-county security team. And the IG has been trying to increase the number of sub-counties where we have OCPDs within Nairobi so that it can cover this issue. With this level of involvement, it should be able to get us solve this problem at a local level. And lastly, is that in terms of strength, the reason why we are going for police recruitment soon, or about 10,000 police officers, is also to increase the number so that this issue of patrol is taken care of. It's also important that the Nairobi County government and the national government pick up the issues of light all over. But more importantly, we need to bolster this issue of security, the CCTVs in the city. The moment all these criminals realize that they are being watched, it will be very easy to deal with this issue. I believe it's something that can be resolved, and those are some of the policy discussions or the thoughts. I used to be a student leader, and in my days when I was in Parklands campus of the University of Nairobi at that time, because there were very few law schools, would walk from main campus to Parklands, and there was no issue. You'd walk even midnight, late night, and so forth. But because of the numbers, the many things that have happened in the city, it's important to restore that level of security for students to not to be confined. If you are an architecture student, for example, using again University of Nairobi, you would spend a lot of time in ADD for almost the whole night. By the time you are going to your hostel, it's about 3 or 4 in the morning. So it's important to make sure that the city is safe for any citizen to walk anytime at night, and we'll work on that.
All right, let's talk about the border sector as a national security issue. And the chairman is here. Kindly pass the microphone to the border team so that we also pass the microphone to the chairman, and then I'll give you the microphone. Okay. Let's have this microphone to the border chairman to come back to you. Right. Kindly pass the microphone to the chairman of the border to talk about this issue of the border as a national security issue and the reforms that were brought in place. Yes, start with the name, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Ken Onyango, the national chairman for Central Organization of Border Riders. Trevor, one thing ambayo nataka kusema, which is very, very important, the CS has gone around the country, and the good thing, it happened in Bungoma. The CS was on the podium, has affected the border sector. And the Ministry of Interior actually plays a very important role. When the CS was the Minister for Transport, he actually gazetted the County Transport and Safety Committee in all the 47 counties, which I sit in one of the board of the County Transport and Safety Committee, to address some of the challenges that you have seen. Recently, you've seen borders actually accused that they are banning vehicles just in case of an accident when it happens. One thing that I want to put across maybe in this meeting, because border is a very important component in our ecosystem in this country. But the most important thing is organizing border in circles. Because let me tell you, when borders are organized within circles, 100 or 200 borders within circles, they are able to self-regulate themselves and understand that this one operates from this stage, going like this and the other way. Compared to the way maybe the way the government maybe have tackled the border issue.
So Ken, do you welcome the reforms that the government is proposing for the border sector?
We welcome it.
Registration, uniforms, all of you to have good conduct and to tell the people where you're operating from.
If you go to Nairobi CBD today, and through the help of Governor Sakaja, Nairobi CBD today, border have already organized themselves into what the government is proposing already. But the problem is, you find that there are some quarters. There are some quarters that are still pushing border to operate the way they used to operate before. We need the goodwill from the interior and sana this ministry. And the reason why we came in our numbers, the border in Mikono, we came in a good number today because the Citizen TV invited us. We want the CS usukume na ile nguvu ulisukuma kwa Ministry of Transport. All the border riders to organize themselves within circles.
But what goodwill do you require from the ministry if we cannot even get you to wear helmets? Your people do not wear helmets.
You see the issue of helmet, and that's why I was actually directing you, Trevor, for us to go back to the issue of self-regulation, because the police cannot do everything. You cannot tell me today that the police will keep on chasing after border riders. I can tell you, some of the police officers have lost their lives because border, when they find themselves in a situation where they'll be arrested by the police and piki yake in the police station. We were at State House the other day with the PS, and the president directed that all the border riders' bikes that have been impounded and are still at the police station be released. And the IG is there. Some of them have not been released, but I know that it's going to be done. The only thing ninaomba tu ya kwamba the Ministry of Interior itusaidie. Jukwaa la usalama that the CS has been going around the country, fanya jukwaa ya border. So that usikie the same story that you've had in Bungoma, in Kilifi, and everywhere, in the same sector.
All right, thank you. Ken. Yes, thank you, Ken. Let's hear from the IG. Why haven't the border has been released as was directed at State House?
No, okay, thank you very much, Trevor. That directive of the president is actually being implemented fully. And I want to assure you that, and I know my good friend there can confirm this, that several of them have actually been released, but there could be others that are having, their cases before courts of law, depending with the offenses that could have been committed. So again, we must also look into that. But those ones with the petty issues, all of them have actually been released.
Why has it been a challenge, IG, to implement discipline? Because now we're talking about having border borders regulated, wear uniforms, but they simply cannot even follow traffic rules. How are you intending to carry out the enforcement part of it? It's one thing to talk about the regulation that they need to adhere to. It's another to enforce. How do you intend to do it differently this time?
Thank you, Trevor. Let me say this. I would wish that, number one, we attain a situation whereby that very, very important sector of border, attains the status of self-regulating in a manner that we can be able, and we are working with many others, we can be able to work in a harmonious way, whereby these people, the border sector, can work with the policing service that here we have this challenge. We want you to assist with this. You see, that is what we would like, as opposed to the other way around, of doing things. Yeah. So we want a situation whereby the border sector is self-regulating. And that is the reason why the idea of coming up, everybody registering with the SACCOs so they can be able to self-regulate is very, very important to me as the Inspector General, and actually the National Police Service for that matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Waziri, what is the best way of dealing with this? Because even when we say that they should be registered and they should wear uniforms, we know that some of them, most of the time, that were used to commit crime, did not even have registration plates.
I think the first thing is first to register all of them in SACCOs. I think first the county's transport committees should function. And there is need for leadership at the county level, because transport is also a shared function, and the part of transport is devolved. County government must take initiative to ensure that the county's transport committees are working. Number two is that once you put them in SACCO, then they get a license, and they get a license as a SACCO. So it becomes punitive for a member of the SACCO if they commit an offense. That problem can transfer to the SACCO as a whole, because if there will be repeat offenders, then you can be able to withdraw the license. The other issue is to ensure that going forward, we invest in technology so that there's a digital enforcement, where Nairobi, for example, the Minister of Transport was working on ITS, Integrated Transport System, that is going to be used for enforcement of traffic offenses. And it will be nice to infuse in technology. If you are not wearing an helmet, your number plate is captured. You get instant fines. If you are overspeeding, the same. If you are driving in areas that borders are not licensed to operate, you get the punishment. So if the ITS system works in Nairobi and Mombasa, and it already received funding after the president spoke to the government of China and Korea, I think that this is also one way that future. And finally,
but how will it work in the villages?
Finally, yes, that's where I was coming. Finally, why we need borders to be in their own SACCOs with their own uniform is because of what we saw in Kisii on 1st of September. And during the Jukwaa la Usalama in Kisii, it was really a matter of great concern. What happened in Kisii is that you'll find the borders groups are being forced to wear uniform of certain political players. So everybody now is hiring a certain group of border groups, giving them their uniform, putting them on standby for political mobilization, and maintaining them to some of them are committing very serious crimes. They're actually facilitating gangs and goons. In fact, the Kisii story was so sad that there was a corner where people are being tortured. If you don't agree with certain political side, you are picked, you are tortured behind the scenes there, and it is generally known. The same issue, we had problems of gangs and border in western and other parts of the country. Let me say, if we leave it to the police, and that is where Kara comes in, if we leave purely to the police cannot manage the sheer number of borders in the country. Yeah. It will be required that we reduce it to a smaller unit, so that even when we're talking about police, maybe sub-county security committee, but county government is there, NTSA is there. This is a multi-billion sector. And again, I repeat, as a former Minister of Transport, the greatest potential that is in this border sector can greatly be harnessed and achieved. If we organize them in SACCOs, we will achieve more in security benefits. And then ensure then that the sub-county security team, the chair of the border group in the sub-county sits in the county security team, so that he's appearing as an ex-officio member together with, as I said, student leaders in the area and so forth. And we will get more intelligence report. We will protect the business, and we will be able to organize this sector away from criminal activity.
Okay, let me hear what you say from the Kara perspective. Is this where you come in? Because you had mentioned earlier on that there needs to be a balance between community policing and the people as well. What is the best way of dealing with borders? Because they do come from the society.
Perhaps I'll answer that question by giving an example of some of the practices that are taking place across most urban areas. A number of associations have realized that they have to work with border community. So they've integrated them as part of their structure and part of their system. So you find that we have associations that are working very closely with the border operators. They've actually created mechanism of engaging with them, of communicating with them, and also even supporting them in terms of even providing the reflectors and all that. Because we do realize that we need the services for border operators. They are part and parcel of the community. But we also want to make sure that as we relate with them, as we get benefit from their services, we also address the element of insecurity that is a major concern across various neighborhoods. We have had reports, we have had information where border operators within certain neighborhoods are actually becoming sources of insecurity because they drive or they run to an estate, and some of them carry out surveillance and carry out insecurity activities. So proactive resident associations have gone a step ahead to make sure that they are finding ways of integrating them as part of their community and supporting them so that they can get their services, but also address the element of insecurity. But overall, I think there's need to find a national way of making sure that we have regulation of the border. It has happened in other countries. I know maybe we need to see how it's happening, but they certainly need to make sure that we have this sector properly regulated.
PS, from a policy perspective, what is the best way of dealing with this sector?
I think already there are proposals in terms of the self-regulation within the border sector. But as a government, we must work closely with the border sector to have real laws that then the people who operate in that ecosystem own, so that when it comes to implementation, it becomes easy, as opposed to leaving it, let's say, to border on their own, or leave it to us as government to be the ones who are running with the regulations and then trying to enforce. But then there is a lot of scope for use of technology, just like the CSR said. In the more remote areas, it's still possible to utilize or to make use of technology by way of, you still have where you can have cameras, but also the phones, so that if there are offenses, you can easily punish, but then also you are able to monitor who is moving from one point to the other. But also, even in a stricter sense, we must also be able to have a situation where we are also controlling access to certain places. In cities like you go to Addis, you'll struggle to see borders in certain spaces, because you have walkways, people are supposed to walk, because you don't want to have chaos all over. And I think those within the border sector, and my friend is here, we need to take stock and agree that in certain spaces, like within the CBD, for example, of Nairobi, I don't see a need for us to have borders there. But in whether it is in the residences or out of town, they play a very big role. But then we just have to tidy the space, working also with the county governments, because they have a role to play as well.
So when will that decision be taken to have borders out of the CBD?
We already are having conversations, so I cannot put a fixed timeline, but that will depend on how fast we're able to bring everybody on the table and then agree on how to do that, because then you also have to have the input from the county government, because they also have a big responsibility on that.
All right. So when the question, yes, you have the microphone, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Caleb Wanga.
Caleb
Wanga. I work for Usalama, and I also serve in the security board of Karen. First of all, allow me to congratulate, let me call you young leaders. Jukwaa la Usalama is doing wonderful things.
Okay, question.
We feel very, very happy when we see chiefs, junior police officers expressing their views like that. Now, my question is this.
Yes,
I believe in miracles, Trevor, and getting recruited into Kenya Police is one of the miracles that can happen to you.
Okay.
As we struggle to deal with crime in the society, we must deal with how people are recruited into the police. There is massive corruption that every Kenyan knows of what happens in the police recruitment processes. There was a time when we were discussing the new constitution before it was even formulated.
Yes.
When we suggested that communities should have a say when Caleb is a young man to be recruited into police, the community where Caleb comes should have a say.
Okay.
But what happens now? The minister have said that you want to recruit 10,000 police officers. I know 8,000 of them names will be forwarded by politicians, senior government officials, senior police officers. Now, and a few people who can raise 200,000 or 300,000. If a young man is recruited, knowing that the parent bribed so that he can get the chance to be a police officer, how will that young man be able to get into the service? We are trying to do some things that might not help the society. These Kenyans are ready to support the government. Kenyans love Kenya. Can you make it work for the member to support the police? Minister, we are hoping to see miracles in this year's recruitment of the police. Okay. Can we see miracles where young men walk into the recruitment centers without a godfather or a godmother, and then they are recruited? Okay. That person will serve the country with passion.
All right. Thank you, Caleb.
You get into the police itself. Now every young police officer wants to get to the traffic, because people go there to make money. Everybody knows we see police officers collecting bribes everywhere, every day, and nothing happens.
All right. Thank you, Caleb.
It's a state of helplessness.
All right.
Thank you.
Kindly
so
pass the microphone to the young man over there. We had agreed that we'll give you a chance. Pass the microphone to the young man over here. So, but as you're passing the microphone to him, let's hear what IG has to say about that in terms of recruitment and corruption. Settle down, please. Settle down. Yes, IG.
Thank you very much, Trevor. And I want to appreciate actually that question very much, because it is true. In recruitment, there is a lot of corruption. That is something that we know. And this time around, I want to assure you, Trevor, and the rest of the Kenyan people, this time around, we are going to recruit police officers in a manner that has actually been described there. You walk in, if you are qualified, you get recruited, period. That is exactly what myself, together with the leadership here, that is what we want. And we are ready for your information. Any person who will go against that spirit, we are ready to take someone home to the jail straight, to ensure that it is just those light people who are recruited in this service. And in fact, what I'm saying, Trevor, look at it this way. I myself, as the Inspector General, I have invited the EACC to come and review our systems, to come and review our policies, to come and look at our SOPs, so that we can be able to get to understand where are these gaps. Now, the other day, I had an exit meeting with the EACC. They are ready to provide us with a report which you commissioned way back in April of this year. And amongst the information that we have gotten is that is an area that really has got a lot of challenges. But now we have actually been assisted with the information that we have so far gotten on how we can actually be able to deal with that issue.
Waziri, I'd like to jump in on this because there's been a concern about the recruitment process this time round. Is it online? When is it happening? How do you ensure that people in the remote areas who can't access internet apply?
I think that I don't want to preempt what the National Police Service Commission is working on, because they have briefed me on those issues. So I'll be jumping ahead to, but the discussion is around, do you go fully online? And then what happens when someone in illiterate in Marsabit gets to the station and they were unable to be shortlisted online? Now he reaches there, he was unable to go online, and then he goes to the recruitment center and he's told, you are not eligible because you have not been shortlisted. So those are some of the things that the National Police Service Commission with the National Police Service working together to make sure that they finalize the details. But this is one of the directives I gave to the commission during daylight, in the presence of everybody. At least it will guarantee some level of transparency. Or you do a recruitment, it's okay. During the day, everybody's seeing, somebody has run, people are shortlisted, they're told this number, out of this number, we want 4. Then they are told, now we will for medical. That medical happens at night. You know, I say they all failed the medical. Then some new people are put there who have contributed, paid for the medical tests to get 300,000, 500,000. And these stories are true. In fact, the communities themselves, they know so-and-so bought, so-and-so paid, so-and-so paid, and the only thing they do is to come. I don't know if citizens know that they have also something called citizens arrest, that you can arrest someone on site and deliver them to police station. You can even arrest them with the money and take them to the police station. Yeah, and even you can keep the XP so that you can produce in court. And so as part of the recruitment this time round, we have said, 1, it should end by 4. They are going to agree, either 4 or 5 during daylight. Community. How? All the observers must be accredited, human rights bodies, religious organization, youth leadership. Those observers who will be accredited must be accredited in good time. Within this period of advertisement, you have accredited all the observers. Let them come there and observe the process from end to end. Without a place, there will be no corner to hide. Let people say, we saw and so the Iran, number 1 was getting because of running, number 2 was getting this one, as we improve the process. Let me request this again as a joint effort between us and the public. I request the members of public, because they have complained over and over again, to take interest in the recruitment that is upcoming and be present in the recruitment center or the field, because it's going to happen in a field, and let's follow the process together. That same recruitment and follow, including the non-governmental organization, NGOs, and so forth. Let us follow the process as we document.
Waziri, has that been resolved?
Yes.
Before we even get to the recruitment, it delayed because of the National Police Service Commission were not in agreement with the style of it all. Has that been resolved?
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to preempt a process that is almost coming to an end of internal conversation within National Police Service Commission. They are working out on that. I have no doubt in my mind that in a matter of days they will come out with the roadmap. Once that roadmap, but the recruitment time has been agreed, that it should end either 4 or 5. It's a finalization. Is it going to be 5 or 4? And there's nothing wrong.
But when will it start?
There's nothing wrong with saying in this station, because the recruitment team arrived late, or in this place because it was raining, or because there was this issue, let's do it tomorrow. Because we want to make sure that everything happens during the day.
Yeah. Waziri, you're only talking about the end of the recruitment. When does it start?
Oh, in the morning.
It ends at 4?
It starts by 8 to 4 or 5.
Which date?
Oh, no. The day they will agree, the date will be announced.
Okay.
Because the days will be announced, and the recruitment centers will also be announced, and the time between 8 up to 4 or 5, as they will be agreed, and it will be part of those procedures that will be announced in a matter of days. And so I request Kenyans, we know the corruption is there. The gentleman has spoken to it. We know that in the traffic sector, we are very notorious as citizens of Kenya in violating traffic rules and then paying bribes for it. As much as our police officers are also notorious in collecting bribes. I used to tell people when I was in transport that you know that it's a 14-seater matatu.
But you are a Kenyan and you are entering the matatu by force and saying tupendane tukae pamoja. You know for sure it's 14-seater. Those who are sitting inside know it's a 14-seater and they're not telling the guy, get out. So we are complacent. We are the ones who are even telling matatus on the way, can you speed? Can you overtake this one? Can you do this other thing? So there is need for us to come back to our senses and cooperate. When President Kibaki came to office, there was a certain level of citizen consciousness. I was still in the university that time, but there was such a, horror and commitment in the citizens. They were arresting police officers who are collecting bribes. We should be able to take these issues very seriously so that we don't look also helpless as citizens.
All right, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Kefa Okari. I'm the Secretary General Multimedia University. First of all, allow me to clarify on the issue you addressed on how the youths are engaged. We have the Jukwaa la Wasomi. It's an initiative run by USPAC and students with the county commissioners in promoting peace within the universities and the county commissioner in the respective regions. Number two, my question goes to the PS, that the PS, Magadi Road is becoming a crime scene. Are you aware that earlier April, we lost a comrade under mysterious circumstance on the same Magadi Road? We raised our concern, a file was open, and we're being told up to date that investigations are being done. So what the surety that the resolution, among the resolutions we gave that the CCTV to be installed along Magadi Road, but nothing has been done up to date. So PS, what's the surety that the resolutions even we're giving today, they're going to be met?
Okay. Thank you, Kefa. The operations is with the IG, but there's a part of it that involves a bit of policy. So you can respond to that, and then IG will talk. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe from a policy perspective, there is already the directive and the guidance on the installation, first of all, of CCTV cameras across all the police stations. And then there is a ICT program that is being run from the police headquarters that is providing coverage primarily for Nairobi and Mombasa, and we are working on its extension to the rest of the major towns and cities across the country. Now, this has just been closed, and the expectation is that within the next 1 month, we should be able to have quantified what it requires in terms of the budget provisions. And then as we work on the supplementary one, we'll be able to make a case that will allow us to roll it out, even if it's in a phased manner. I just want to give the assurance to the student leader that we are not just here to give an account of what we have done on security matters over the last 3 years, but we are also here to also take feedback for purposes of making things better as we go forward into the remainder of the current term.
Okay.
And the fact that we are now incorporating the student leadership as part of our security architecture in terms of the engagement and the conversation speaks to the determination that we have as a ministry to ensure that we are not just talking, but we are taking the necessary steps.
Okay.
Yeah, but also it's important to look at the entire student ecosystem.
Yeah.
That when you look at even where the students are staying, we need to give dignity back to the students. We need to have an environment that is conducive for students to learn, not just the lecture halls, but even the student accommodation. As part of the affordable housing program, we are rolling out a number of hostels across the country as a government. This would invariably go towards helping us address some of these persistent complaints and issues. Because with those new dignified accommodation, then you will also have installation of CCTVs, proper lighting, and this would make it very difficult for anyone who would want to mess around.
Okay.
Yes.
IG, from the operations perspective, and what Kefa is asking, even as we wait to install the CCTVs and the lights, why is it so difficult to just have people patrolling that area? Why don't you have police officers patrolling that area, the troublesome areas consistently?
Thank you very much, Trevor. And first of all, I want to start by appreciating the question that has been raised by the student leader. While looking at the issues, I'm happy to note that the leadership of the university, through the student leaders, they're also working closely with the county commissioner and the security providers. To me, that is important because number one, a county commissioner is also the chair of the county security
committee. And in that security committee, the police are there, the National Intelligence Service is there, the DCI is there, and all those security providers. My promise to you, from where I sit, is to ensure, number one, there is visibility of police, both uniformed and those in plain clothes, to ensure that there is adequate security in the entire of that route. And number two, you have heard what the CS has said, that we also move in that direction of ensuring that we incorporate technology to ensure that your life becomes easy. You can actually be able to stand at any time of the day or night without looking back over your shoulder that your security is compromised. So that is actually the promise that we would wish to.
All right. Yes. But the microphone is over here, and then there's a lady back there as well. Let's be gender sensitive a bit.
Thank you very much.
Let's pass this microphone to the ladies there. The ladies have not spoken much. Please, let's be orderly. Pass the microphone to the lady back there. Kindly pass the microphone to the lady over there, tafadhali, so that we hear what the ladies have to say. We have not heard from the ladies. I'll give you a chance. Pass the microphone, tafadhali. Let's just be orderly. Sit down, tafadhali. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Londa Kenya. I'm representing community policy in Kenya. Naomba niulize hii swali kwa Kiswahili. Swali yangu inaenda kwa PS. Umetuambia ya kwamba nimesikia ukitaja mambo ya community policing. Najua kwa budget ya kila mwaka kuna budget ya community policing. Na sisi tunapeanga serikali information kila wakati, kila siku, kila mahali. Hapa majuzi mumeona ule mtu mwenye alichoma watu Kisii. Hiyo information mlipewa mahali alikuwa amejificha Kibera na community policing. Nauliza swali yangu ni hii. Sababu budget inatengwa kila mwaka. Utatusaidiaje sisi, manake hatupati chochote kwa hiyo budget ya community policing? Swali ya pili, sijui nitajibiwa na nani. Kwa miaka 3 kuja kuwa na police recruitment hapa. Na saa ile namba mnatupea ni 10,000. Nauliza hiyo 10,000 ndio inasimamia miaka 10. Wamekufa officers wetu wengi sana. Wengine wameenda retire. Imekuaje mtupatie 10,000 peke yake? Tunaomba tafadhali muongeze na vijana wetu kazi na watoto wetu wapate kazi, ndio hata hiyo demonstration ipungue.
All right, thank you Kenya. PS. And then CS will respond on the recruitment numbers.
Yes, so you've raised a valid point that there is always a budget for community policing. I need to, I'll want to defer to the accounting officer for the National Police Service.
Yes.
Sawa, nitajibu kwa Swahili. Nasema kwa mambo ya budget ya community policing, kuna mwenzangu hapa anaitwa Badis, ambaye ni accounting officer wa National Police Service.
Okay.
So tutampatia nafasi kidogo azungumzia hayo.
Okay. All right.
Lakini kabla ya yeye respond, umeuliza mambo ya recruitment numbers ya polisi. Juu kwa miaka 3 hatujawahi recruit polisi. Kwa ukweli kuna gap kubwa. Initially tulikuwa tunapewa budget ya kurecruit 5,000 officers. But through the CS tulisukuma na tukapewa double number, ikawa 10,000. Na bado tutazidi kusukuma tupate nafasi zaidi ya 10,000. So hii ni kuanzia, because kwa hii administration tangu tuingie kwa ushukani ndio mara ya kwanza tuna recruit officers 10,000. So pengine mwaka ujao tutafanya 10,000 ama 5,000, na tutazidi fill hiyo gap because kuna attrition, kuna wenye wanakufa, kuna wenye wanatoka service wanaenda kwa kazi zingine. So ni muhimu tupate namba yenye nafaa. Juu kwa sasa venye CEO wa Kara alisema, unapata kwa kila ofisa moja kuna Wakenya zaidi ya 500, na inahitajika tukue Wakenya 400 kwa ofisa mmoja. So tutazidi kuongeza namba ya maofisa tuna recruit ili hiyo ratio ikuje sawa sawa.
But do we have the facilities to train 10,000 police officers at a go?
Yes, we have the capacity. We have the capacity to do it. We've done our mapping. We have training centers across that would be able to take the 10,000.
All right. Let's pass the microphone to Banisi Alal. She's here. Alikuwa anafaa kujibu. Pass the microphone to Banisi. She's over here. Tafadhali. To answer the community policing. Yes.
Yeah, kwa ule dada ningependa kuongezea kwamba unajua chochote yenye unataka kufanya lazima kuwe na bajeti. Na ile pesa tunatumia ni nyinyi wananchi mmetupatia. Kwa hivyo tunajaribu kubalance kadiri ya uwezo ya wananchi kupitia kodi yao, uwezo wao wa kuweza kutupatia nafasi ya kuandika hawa kazi. Lakini pia ya pili ni kwamba kwenda mbele lazima tuweke sana mambo ya teknolojia mbele. Ukienda nchi nyingi sana, utaenda jiji kama Nairobi, hakuna askari utamuona barabarani. Na si kwamba yuko askari yuko, lakini ako ofisi. Anaona zile kamera zote. Hata wakati rais ya nchi hiyo akitoka barabara, anaweka barabara yenye atapitia red light, anafungia wale wengine, anapita. Sio lazima ukuwe na askari hapo asimamishe watu. So let me say this, as we move forward with greater investment in technology, for example, the ITS, the instant finding system, the digital OB that the IG talked about, when we invest in digital OB, we can leverage on technology to the extent that a job that was being done by 100 police officers was done by one, or even 1,000 in some cases by one. So that then we can give our police officers the necessary protection, the necessary equipment, and raise their salary. We have a certain number, but better technology, then you have greater services. The last thing I want to say is that ordinarily, I saw many people clapped when we said we are going to hire 10,000 police officers. It's going to take care of our young people. The danger of government is to continue engaging more people to public service at the expense of the budget providing development. Ordinarily, we should be doing things at the economy sector that injects more resources in areas that will ensure private sector is employing many people. But traditionally, over time, we have taken as a nation public service as the only employer that takes care of our young people. I hope that the interventions, and I believe the interventions that the government is putting in place in the long term, including security interventions in areas where it has been insecure, will give private sector the impetus to invest in our economy in such a way that more people will be hired by private sector and the public service becomes lean, so that more of the resources of public service goes to the development.
All right, I'll take a quick break, but there's a question that Banis was supposed to respond to. Let's take another quick break, then we're back with the questions as well. There's too many questions. We will try and fit as many as we can right after this break, all right?
That's what's going on, or that's what's happening, and that's what's the things that are being said up to. So one, I want to thank you for those who are still tuning up. I thank you for those who have contributed to us to eat up, where we listen to the views of other people's too, and we listen to the views of Kenyans too, speaking about the insecurities problem and asking questions that they are burning from inside their hearts. Please, I want also to listen from you now as we're winding up. Please just tell me on the comment section, Chedizo, to me, I feel this is the way that we should go, or this is the design that we should take because of one or two or three things. Because if we don't have a reason or a place to go or a designer to take, we'll be living in a ditch where that will be not be able coming out. even easily. So I want all Kenyans to stand up together. Let us unite together and let us make sure that we fight this battle to the end. We're not leaving it for other people to fight it while others we are resting. We are here for insecurity is bad thing, and for every young man who is there and everyone who is doing that, who is raising up the insecurity issues, please, I ask you, please take care, be careful, stop raising up insecurity issues. Fight a good fight, because you are the best, you are the good one, you are the amazing one. So let us stand up and let us fight a good fight of bringing peace to the society. We are the society peacemakers. So the peace starts with me and you. The unity starts with me, then you. So we are here, everyone, to make sure that everything reigns to its order. For if we don't have starting the unity, we don't have bring peace into our nation, we will be the one causing the chaotics tomorrow. So because when we destroy today, we'll face even our generations coming in future. So we have to stand still, fight a good fight, and warn it as bringing peace in Kenya. So I want to thank you for everyone that has been joining up. Thank you for everyone that has been setting it up. I thank you for us participated to bring this show to the day still like this. Before, you are the best and you are the amazing people that are doing this. So I want to thank you for being here, and let us meet the next time, the next day, the same place, the same time, doing the same thing, talking about a different matter. Thank you. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Tonight. Basi yule mtoto akasema ile siku moja mimi sijaenda kanisani na Yesu Kristo anakuja. Because kuleta ndege ya Chief of Defense Forces down is not only negligence but criminal negligence. Nilikuja hapa hadi Wagong nikamwambia mchague Ruto. Na mimi naomba msamaha. Na mchezo huu rais ni mchezo ambao utakusaidia wewe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Ni mchezo ambao unakufundisha jinsi vile kufanya kazi. Your Excellency, what helped that case was there was a policeman who recorded his statement in English.
Sasa huyu ndiye nilipiga kofi. Juzi ndio amenipigia simu akaniambia.
Tonight.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti. Watu wa Mungu, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Kanti Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipenda ya Sound Kanti Talk.
Marriage is one of life's most monumental decisions. It's not just about the wedding day or the ring. It's about committing your heart, mind, and soul to a lifelong partnership. But here's the big question. Are you really ready? Introducing Are You Marriage Ready? By Bernard Ngozi, a transformative ebook designed to guide you in building a successful and fulfilling union. This essential resource delves deep into personal growth, compatibility assessment, and the true meaning of marriage beyond the fairy tale. Learn how to reflect on your values, develop emotional resilience, and evaluate your relationship to ensure compatibility. This book opened my eyes to areas I needed to work on and helped me see my relationship in a new light. Jessica M. Available now for just $5, Are You Marriage Ready? Is accessible on all major platforms. Don't miss this opportunity to prepare yourself for one of life's most beautiful journeys. Follow the link in the description below to download your copy now. Empower your future. Embrace a fulfilling marriage now.